Good morning, traders. Welcome to Premarket Info. I'm Dennis Dick. Joel's away with us today. He will be back tomorrow, so you guys are stuck with me for the day. Overnight S&P range has been pretty quiet. The high has been 1563.75, the low 1559. We're currently up 2.5 points, trading at 1562. Market itself had a good comeback yesterday in the afternoon, closing very strong and has continued that strength overnight. Alcoa, though, interesting report. They did beat by a penny. Revenue was a bit light. On the initial report, actually, Alcoa spiked up to 854, which actually you can see on this intraday chart. That coincides nicely with these couple of tops at 855 and 852, but then turned around and started selling off. Alcoa actually trading down about a dime right now at 828. The low yesterday was 820. I would keep an eye on that level for my first level. And then 810 was the low from the fifth. So those are your two bogeys there if you're looking to pick a bottom in Alcoa. If you really think the stock's going to roll over, yeah, this low, obviously $8 area is going to be huge for the stock. And back if you go into November the 16th, you had a low of 798. Other stocks in the news, we have Penney was all over the place last night. This thing is trading very actively, even in the pre-market, already traded 1.5 million shares this morning. They've ousted Ron Johnson. He is out as the CEO. When that happened, that was around 5 o'clock Eastern last night, the stock actually spiked up, believe it or not, to 1788. And incredible move here overnight on the Ron Johnson ousting. You can see these couple tops where it stopped right in its tracks, 1794, 1795. But then they announced Mike Allman coming in, the former CEO coming back to JCPenney. Stock turned around and started selling off rapidly, giving back the entire 12% gain. Then trading actually down and is now down over $1. So the range on JCPenney has been 1788 at the high last night, and then it got down to as low as 1410. It's now trading at 1469. So this thing basically traded its entire range from the last month just overnight here since the market's been closed. So it's been an absolutely crazy range. The low here, 1410, overnight coincides perfectly with the low set on April 4th of 1410. So that number absolutely enormous here to trade. You're kind of stuck in the middle here. I'd look at these couple of tops. Yesterday's low, 1537, might be one number to consider, but this thing is going to be very active. It's going to trade crazy here, again, probably today. So just interesting that a stock could have that big of a move, that much of an overshoot on the upside, an overshoot on the downside, and now trading down about $1 at 1476. Crazy, crazy overnight session for JCPenney. Let's move on to a few of the stocks in the S&P 500, some of the more top components here. Apple actually had a pretty quiet day yesterday, trading very tight. 422.49 was the low, 427.50 the high. So a 5-point range for Apple, very, very quiet. The day before, making a low of 419.68. That coincides closely with the low we set back on March the 4th. That is the low of the move. That is the bogey. 419. Stock trading up this morning about 20 cents here as the market's up a couple of points. 426.41. But I'm going to draw this chart even for you on the chart here. I'll draw this line. 419, absolutely enormous with this stock. Obviously, that needs to hold for the bulls to have any case whatsoever. Google continued the decline yesterday, though. Google breaking down again. We had the original breakdown about 5 trading sessions ago below 800. It popped up just to shake out those traders that were using 800 as a bogey. Had a couple of sessions where it almost made a double top at 814.83, 814.20, and then basically 3 sessions in a row it's been down, down, down. 774. It's trading up $1 right now, but the chart doesn't look great. It looks more broken here. Even if I draw the lines on this one here, you can see how we had this whole breakdown through this whole 793 area. The last 2 sessions, obviously not good for the stock. If it was ever to approach up into the high 780s, 790s, I think you have these bottom pickers here that are probably looking to get out. So I think you will see resistance if the stock gets any type of a rally. Facebook here struggled 2 days ago at the $28 level again, got as high as 27.80, peeled back a bit, trading down here a dime this morning. Oppenheimer lowering estimates there. I think that's putting a little bit of pressure on the stock here in pre-market trade. I'd keep an eye on yesterday's low, 26.63. We're trading at 26.73 in the pre-market. If it starts to take out that 26.63, I don't see much until the low at 26.11 from April the 4th. So you have a little bit of air in here if we start to take out the whole 26.63 area. Johnson & Johnson had a tough day yesterday. Got a downgrade. Did bounce back later in the day. If we look at we look at the trading there, you can see the initial sell-off yesterday morning. Continued the sell-off and then started bouncing back. Had a buy-in balance, I think, which helped to push it up towards the end of the day. Is trading up here just about 14 cents with fair value at 81.25. Kramer was mentioning it positively last night on Mad Money, which was giving it a little bit of a lift in the after hours. There is a little bit of a gap here. 81.62 was the low on the 5th. Obviously, the downgrade yesterday pushed the stock down, and the high yesterday 81.39. So you do have a little bit of a gap there if it gets above 81.39 up to the 81.62 area. But again, this chart here, a pretty weak day. I think if you get anywhere in the upper 81s, I think you're going to find some sellers. Sorry about the stuffiness here. I'm still fighting another cold. I just can't seem to stay healthy. Procter & Gamble. This stock here, interesting chart. It actually got up here close to these spiked highs here that you can see on the chart from a few days ago. 79.15 was the high just back on the 2nd. And then on the next day we had a high of 79.08. The next day a high of 78.98. We are seeing some institutional selling pressure in the whole $79 area. So I would expect some high frequency traders to probably be leading on those institutional sellers and probably selling in the 78.90s. If the stock takes out 79, I don't see much until 79.50 in the book. I do see another 86,000 shares at 79.50, so that could be a next area of resistance if 79 is taken out. But that's the bogey for the bulls to be in or to take charge here. Stock needs to trade through that 79 area. Speaking of resistance, Coca-Cola closed right up at resistance yesterday. Strong close. You can see the crazy range and the crazy move for Coke. It basically in the morning sold off, caught a bid, rallied all afternoon on another strong buy-in balance. There was over 2 million shares buying, which really pushed the stock up towards the end of the day. But you can see it's going to open right into this whole resistance area. We had a high on April the 2nd of 40.90. Yesterday's high 40.87. We're trading at 40.89 right now. So all kinds of resistance in this 40.90 to 41 area. It gets above 41, then the bulls take charge here again. But as of right now, it's opening into resistance. So just be aware of that if you are trading Coca-Cola. IBM had a key breakdown day yesterday, or 2 days ago actually. This whole 210 area had provided pretty nice support for the stock. It broke down back on the 5th, 209.84 the high, then broke down to 206.34. Had an inside trading day yesterday, high at 209.32, low 207.33. The whole 210 area does look like it's going to provide you some resistance here again. So if this stock gets in the upper 209s, I think it might find some sellers. Gets above 210, those sellers might get nervous. So that's the bogey, is 210 on IBM. Not a lot of other earnings this week. No major companies until you get to Friday. Friday rolls around. We had two major banks reporting. Wells Fargo will report earnings on Friday. Just to give you a quick technical, because these stocks do sometimes have volatility as they trade ahead of those earnings. I know we're still 3 days ahead of those earnings on Friday, but Wells Fargo, interesting chart yesterday. Put in almost a double bottom. 36.62 was the low on the 5th. Actually, a perfect double bottom. 36.62, the low yesterday on April 8th. So, perfect double bottom put in place for Wells Fargo. That could be an argument that the stock could end up starting to move higher here today, which it is doing slightly in the pre-market. It's trading at 37.10. The bogey here from 3 days ago is 37.48. I think that's where you'll find some resistance back on April the 4th. Yesterday's high also probably give you a little bit of trouble off the hop, 37.11. So if we can get above this whole 37.11 area, it does open up until you get up to 37.48. JP Morgan will report on Friday as well, and it had a key reversal day yesterday too. A lot of stocks really reversed course yesterday. And JP Morgan, one of them, and a lot of your financials reversed as well. But JP Morgan really broke out. It was struggling at that 48 level, finally took it out and takes up to 48.58, closing almost at the highs. Trading 48.62 right now, very light volume. So I would look back here on, just going to grab this high. On March the 25th, you had a high of 49.32, and then the day after that, you had a high of 48.97. Call that whole area $49. I think that's your next area of resistance. But this chart's looking better too. So all these financials, the charts looked pretty weak on them just a few days ago. Starting to not look as bad now with the Wells Fargo double bottom, the turn in JP Morgan. Even Goldman Sachs yesterday had a key reversal. You can see if I just bring up yesterday's trading. Stock bottomed right around 140. Just going to grab the low, 140.34. Turned around, caught a bid, got as high as 144. This is back on the 5th. Then yesterday pulled back a bit, and then coming up here again. So it gets above 144, which it is doing the pre-market. It starts to open up a little bit more for Goldman Sachs once again. Citigroup here, reversal just like yesterday, just like the JP Morgan chart. On the 5th, bottom of 41.60, but took out the high from the 5th. Continued to move higher here yesterday, got as high as 43.62, closed at 43.56. It's trading down about a nickel right now. $44 area, I would say, is probably where Citigroup is going to find some more resistance too. Just might as well update you on Penney. The thing I told you is going to be trading active. Since I started the show 5 minutes ago, it's trading another 500,000 shares, now trading back above $15. So Penney all over the place in the pre-market here and after our session. That's just our quick show here for today. The E-mini, very quiet, up a couple of points at 1561, high 1563.75. Keep an eye on that level. Joel will be back with us tomorrow. We'll have our live show going for you tomorrow as well. And have a great trading session.